Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. It's Robin the Delta Crafter, and I want to welcome you back to another video on my YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be continuing my exploration and learning of alcohol inks. And so, if you missed my previous video, I will have it linked below, where we started on this journey of learning about alcohol inks. And I say we because this is a vlog style video and we are learning alcohol inks together. So I'm doing this live, video recording it, of course, but it's not pre-recorded. It's not going to be edited. It's just going to be whatever happens is what it's going to be. And so we're going to go ahead and get started with the alcohol ink blending. In my last video, which was the first video in the series, the technique that I used was a couple of different ones, but I always did drops of ink. So I might have put the alcohol blending solution on first and then put drops of ink, or I might have put put drops of ink and then put the alcohol blending solution on afterwards, or vice versa same thing with isopropyl alcohol. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to put down lines of alcohol blended solution or whatever solution I'm using. And then I'm also going to put down lines of ink, and we're going to see what happens with that. So that's going to be a little bit how today's video is going to be trying another technique with these alcohol inks. I did go into detail in the very first video about the alcohol blended solution and the 91% isopropyl alcohol. So be sure to check that video out to kind of learn about those things, because I'm going to jump into the projects today. And so because I've already covered that information, check that video out for that. I am going to say that the paper I'm using today is, again, the craft plastic from Graphiques. And like I have previously done, I will link all the products that I'm using today on a blog post on my website, thedeltacrafter.com. So let's go ahead and get started. So I think for our first card or panel that we're going to make today, I'm going to use alcohol blending solution. So let's see what colors do we want to go with today. I'm thinking we might want to create like a, I don't know, beach scene kind of color. So we're going to use a couple of beachy kind of colors. So let's go with these. We have pistachio, mermaid, that's appropriate, and stream, also appropriate. So like I said, we're going to put down some alcohol blended solution. Actually, I'm going to put down alcohol blended solution first, a line of it, and then I'm going to put down a line of the alcohol ink itself. Got my handy dandy blower here. That's going to help me move the alcohol ink once I get it down. And in preparation, as always, I'm going to go ahead and take the caps off of everything. So I'm going to put the caps behind. I'm learning, y'all. We're learning together. So put the take the caps off and put the alcohol ink to the cap behind it. All right. So I'm going to put down a line of the blending solution. So squeeze and put a line there. Then I'm going to come in with the pistachio, and I'm going to put a line of pistachio down. And remember, guys, because this is alcohol ink, and alcohol is in the composition of all of these things, you're going to need to move quickly in order to make sure that your inks are workable. See, now that's pretty. That's a pretty color, that pistachio. And I'm blowing lightly with the blower. All right, I'm gonna add a little more solution here and a little more ink. Get that covered, that part over there. So you can see, you just saw there what happened when I put the more of the alcohol blended solution down. It moved the paint and alcohol ink. I'm sorry, alcohol ink and the blended solution that was already there. If it was dry, it wouldn't have moved as much, but it wasn't dry, so it moved quite a bit. That may be something that you want to happen. It may not be. You just need to be mindful of that as you're working with your alcohol inks. So what I'm doing now, everything is pretty much set, but I'm just going ahead and blowing everything to help it dry. Because again, like I stated in my previous video, these are all made with alcohol, so this stuff, the alcohol evaporates quickly, and which means you got to work quickly. Also means that you create quickly. So there's pluses to this. All right, so we've got our pistachio down. Now I'm going to come in and put down a line of alcohol blended solution again, and then I'm gonna come in with the mermaid, which I think this is Jen Shirkis's favorite color. Surprise, surprise. She loves all things mermaid. All right, so let's work this mermaid into the pistachio. Oh yeah, I like this. We'll go ahead and add some blended solution there while we're already working in that direction. And over here to get it to mix a little bit more. All right, yes, yes. Okay, yes, that's pretty. Oh, that's pretty, y'all. So, such a light puff of air, you can barely hear it. So pretty. All right, so I'm gonna let that, I put down a little bit, quite a bit of the blending solution, so I'm gonna let that evaporate a little bit more. If you were looking at it from the angle that I'm looking at it from, I see it evaporating from this left side all the way over. So I want it to stay like it is. I don't want to blow on it right now because I want the composition to stay like it is. So I'm letting it naturally evaporate. And then as I see it start evaporating more, then I can come in with my blower and kind of blow some air. See, it's still a little wet. So maybe if it's this wet, then that means that either one or two things. I could still be working the alcohol blend composition, or if once I get to a place that I like it, then I may have put too much. You just never know though, because you never know when you're gonna get to that place of where you like what you see. So just be mindful of all of that. All right, so while this is still wet, I think I'm gonna take advantage of the fact that it's still wet and go ahead and put down my stream. So I'm gonna put down my line of alcohol blending solution and my line of alcohol ink. Oh man, that's pretty. The way that is, I don't know what you call that. I'm gonna have to do some research on that. The way it came out and kind of just, ooh, this stream is a beautiful dark teal color. I really like that. All right, I see now. I'm gonna put a drop there and a couple drops there. Because again, I want the full coverage, so I've got to make sure I have, in order to get the full coverage, I've got to have liquid on all the parts and pieces. So it's looking like I might have some thick areas of paint, so I'm gonna try to spread those out some so they're not as thick. So I watched a couple of more videos on alcohol inks just to continue my learning process with this medium, because again, I just jumped into these a little over a month ago. I'm sorry, more like 2 months ago. Well, 2 months ago I purchased them. How about that? But I haven't really like used them. So that's why I'm calling this. I don't know. Should we make this a series, y'all? Leave me a comment. Leave me with your thoughts in the comments below. Should we make this Learning with Alcohol Inks a series on my channel? Man, this is pretty. This turned out really, really pretty. All right, so now I put a little bit less blended solution on with that third color with the stream. So now I'm just going to kind of come in and dry it a little bit. I do see some pools of, intense pools of color, like right here and over here, which means that right here as well. That is going to be pretty thick, and going to need a little bit of extra time to dry. That ink is thick, which is fine. But I really like the way this all came together. So let's take a closer look at this panel. Can you guys see? Man, that's pretty. Beautiful ocean colors. All right, so let's put this aside, clean up, and let's move on to another panel. All right, so we're still continuing with putting down lines of our solution and lines of our ink colors. But this time we're going to try that process or that technique with isopropyl alcohol, 91%. And remember, 91% or higher is what's recommended to use when you're working with alcohol inks. So I have 91% isopropyl alcohol here. We're going to use these three colors. We're going to use Cobalt, Sailboat Blue, and Monsoon. I have never used any of these colors before, so I'm interested to see what they're going to turn out like. And I'm also going to use the Sterling Alloy. Now, one thing that I forgot when in my first video, and then I was watching it back and thinking about what happened with the gilded alloy that I was using, I forgot that there is a mixing ball in the bottom of the alloy alcohol inks. And when you have your alcohol ink stored away, like I do here in this alcohol ink container, storage container, they sit up for a little while, and you want to, before you use them, bring them out and shake them up, and so until you hear that little ball moving around. So let's take a look. Let's take a listen. Can you hear that? That little ball is in there, and it's mixing, helping to mix all of the chemical components together so that this color comes out like it's supposed to. I didn't do that with the gilded alcohol ink in my first video, which is probably the reason why I didn't, on those first couple of drops, I didn't have the results that I was looking for. So just a reminder, with all of the alloys, make sure you shake them up until you hear that ball moving around rather nicely in your alcohol ink. So let's go ahead and get set up. I'm gonna take the lids off of all the inks so that we are ready to go. Because again, you gotta move quickly. Got ink on my hand there. So this time, yes, I'm going to put the line of the alcohol ink down. And remember, this is not the needle tip nozzle. This is a nozzle that's a little bit wider. So the alcohol, because of the viscosity of the isopropyl alcohol, is going to come out pretty quickly. So when you're using yours, whatever container you have yours in or bottle you have your solution in, just keep that in mind of how fast it's going to come out, how quickly you need to work. So let's go ahead and get started. Got our line of isopropyl and line of that's cobalt. It's a beautiful blue color. I can already tell. And it's dark, very dark, as cobalt is, as cobalt should be. But man, so one of the things that I watched Tim Holtz video when he released some new alcohol inks. And one of the things that he talked about is all the colors that go in, that are actually in the chemical composition of the alcohol inks. So some alcohol inks you can put down, and as you let them run down the paper like this one is, you will see lots and lots of other colors kind of wick out because of all the colors that it took to get that color to be what it is. So I love that about alcohol inks, and that's the case with distress inks as well. Which y'all know, ink blending is my jam. And I love using traditional distress ink. So that went pretty quickly, guys. Still got some over here that's fairly wet. So I'm going to work that back this way. Man, that's pretty. Back to the end of the paper. And for the most part, that is dry. Because it's pretty set now, I can squeeze pretty hard and just dry everything up. Okay, now let's put a line of alcohol down again. Come in with our sailboat blue. So I wasn't sure if blue was in the title or not. And we're gonna work with that and blow it where we want it to go. Now this is like a pretty sky blue kind of like color. And I do want some mixing. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add in some of that sterling alloy right now while it's all still wet, and let's see what we get. Let's not wait until the end to add that. Now remember, the viscosity of that isopropyl alcohol is so, ooh man, that's gonna be pretty right there. So thin that it's all the way down here in the in that cobalt from laying it down for the sailboat blue. Oh man. See, when I blow, you can see the ripples of the sterling kind of blowing everywhere. Man, this really looks like a geode. That is beautiful. So this part right here is still kind of wet. This part is very wet. So I'm gonna give it a few seconds to dry without blowing over there on those areas. Now let's see what's gonna happen when we add our line of alcohol ink over here and our third color, the monsoon. What's gonna happen with all of this this sterling. Oh, that's pretty. Still wet over here, quite wet over here. I did squeeze quite a bit of alcohol up here, so it's taking a little bit more time for it to evaporate. So now I'm gonna add this line of alcohol and come in with the Monsoon. And let's see what happens. So we reactivated some of that sterling. And that's a pretty blue too. Kind of, what's the color I'm trying to describe? Like a gray blue over the ocean, like when a storm is coming. If you've ever been on the beach or on a cruise and you see those dark storm clouds coming, that's what this Monsoon looks like to me. Okay, so I'm really liking the color and that Monsoon, but I'm not liking the way this sterling kind of took over. So I think I might have put just a little bit too much of that sterling down overall. But as I stated before, put a little drop right there. One of the things that I love about alcohol inks is that it's never really done. Like, you can go back and reactivate inks by adding some solution again. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to come in the middle with some alcohol and some more sailboat and see if we can't add a little bit more color in this middle part. Take away some of that silver by layering. Put some blue back in here. Let's see what happens. Add a little bit more and get some of this blue back to the top. that sterling silver keeps rising to the top. There's a lot of that on there. Let's work this end over here with some cobalt too. Let's see what happens when we do that. And everything's still kind of liquidy and can mesh together, work together. Okay, here we go. Looks like we're getting getting some of that color to come back, where we'll have pockets of silver instead of dominance of silver, of the sterling. Yeah, I like that. I think I'm gonna let this kind of dry for a little bit. Still pretty liquidy right here. Let that alcohol evaporate. Yeah, I'm really liking the way that looks. When you put down the alloys and you blow, it is the alcohol's dance. The alloys like dance, and they move and just make a beautiful sparkle. I don't know if the camera is catching that, but it's really fascinating to watch. It's beautiful. So let's see, it's kind of getting dry over here. I'm loving these alcohol inks, y'all. I said it in my other video, I might have a new obsession. I've heard a lot of people say that they have the alcohol inks, but they don't pull them out as much or as often as they should. You know how that is. Sometimes you have things tucked away nice and neat and, you know, in different spaces in your craft room or your crafting space. And, you know, out of sight, out of mind. But I hope that I can continue to keep these up on the top and use these because they are absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Because truth of the matter is you only got so much space that's within your eyesight or in your arm's reach and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So there are going to be some things that you're going to have that are going to get tucked away in a nice, neat spot, and they're just not going to get used as much. I hope that's not the case with my alcohol inks, though. All right, let's get this up. All right, there we go. Oh, man, that's pretty. All right, take a look at that. Look at that shimmer. Oh, that's pretty. So I am a Dallas Cowboys fan, so this will work well for me if it makes it to football season. I don't think it will, though. It'll soon get made into a card. But it might go to a Dallas Cowboys fan who would appreciate that. All right, so I got all this ink down on my glass mat. And one of the things you can do to clean this up is just use your isopropyl alcohol to clean it up and wipe it up. Another thing that you can do is you can use your isopropyl alcohol or and pour it down, put some on there, and then run some paper through what you have on your glass craft mat. And that's what I did with our previous combination, our previous panel that we made. Remember this panel that we made? So I took I put some alcohol on the glass mat, and I ran a piece of this craft plastic, the paper through it, and this is what I got. So I'm gonna call this second generation alcohol ink blending. This is because it's definitely lighter, it's more wispy. It kind of do the same thing that you do with ink smooshing. And because of that, you kind of get different layers and depths of color on it. So let's go ahead and give that a try with this. What we have on our glass mat here. So I'm going to put down a good amount of alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. And because the color is mainly around the edges, I'm going to come in with my paper and I'm going to kind of move it around like so. And look at that. Oh man, that's pretty. So I got a lot of color up here because I had a lot of that cobalt. So I'm going to try to switch up and get some more color down here. All right, so there's one. I got enough ink on here to make another one. So let's go ahead. Let's not waste it while we're here. Let's go ahead. Now the colors are kind of all blended together. So just know that you probably won't have as much distinction in your colors as maybe you would have previously or with the first one. So I'm going to let this dry up a little bit. And because it's, you know, quite a bit of alcohol and stuff on here, you can still move it around. But what I kind of want to do is to dry it and maybe get a second layer before the alcohol evaporates from here completely. Working on this one while the alcohol is evaporating from that second one. I'm sorry, from the first one. Let's see. Can I get it? I'm blowing, squeezing pretty hard because I want it to dry. It doesn't have to be completely dry. This one's not going to be, and I'm going to dip it back into what we got here in the middle. See what happens. Oh yeah, that's going to be pretty. Look at that. Look at those lines. Love it. All right, now let's dip this one. And then we're gonna clean up. I kind of like that, just like that. I like that, just like that. You know what? I'm not gonna touch it because it's moving a little bit and I like it just like it is. So I'm just gonna let it air dry. Move that over there, let that air dry. Move this one over to the side, let it air dry. And now we're gonna come in and clean up. Just put my lids on my alcohol inks first. Don't want those to dry out. This is a glass craft mat from Glassboard Studios. I have a coupon code that will be linked below as well as on my blog site if you want to pick up one of these. With the coupon code, you will get 20% off of your entire purchase. And I cannot speak highly enough about these glass mats. Look how quickly and easily that cleaned up. Let's see if we can get a little bit clean up on my fingers. Use that same alcohol. On my fingers. Got most of it on. Enough of it where I don't look like I'm belong in a Smurf village somewhere. Let's take a look at today's creations. So here's the first panel that we made. Again, we were using the alcohol blending solution as well as isopropyl alcohol, but we did lines of everything today. So lines of the solution and lines of the ink colors. Here's our very first panel that we made. So that's first generation. Here is the second panel that I made from smooshing the paper into the alcohol inks that were remaining on the glass mat. So that's our first panel, or first set there. Here's our second panel that we made. Lots of blues, and we got that sterling silver rolling through there. And then here are the second generation panels that we made from the remaining ink on this panel. I'm sorry, on the glass mat from that panel. Still got that sterling silver in there. Got lots of blues rolling through there. And this one, oh man, I really like the striations that were created here. Man, that's pretty. All right, so that was quick, y'all, and we created 5 different panels very quickly, all unique, lots of different colors, great techniques used, and now we have 5 panels that will be ready to go whenever we make cards. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, another video in the Let's Learn Alcohol Inks. And together, again, let me know down in the comments below if you think this should be a series or just a pop in every now and then, or what you guys want to see. As always, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at thedeltacrafter.com. I'm sorry, at the Delta Crafter. And then you can also find me on my website at thedeltacrafter.com. Until next time, everyone, enjoy.